Captaincy, an honor that's been given to some of the greatest players to come about over the years in hockey history, as the C on every captain's sweater demands respect regardless of who's wearing it. But like many good things, just as it's given, it can also be taken away. And this has unfortunately happened to a select few players for various reasons. In this video, I'm going to do my best to decipher exactly why this handful of players were stripped of their captaincy. And with that, here are 5 NHL players that lost their captaincy and why.
Welcome back to Nashville, the 2003 National Hockey League entry draft. Here on
Looking back to when we drafted him back in 2003, we felt he had all the qualities to be a future captain of the Kings.
After being drafted by the Los Angeles Kings, Dustin Brown quickly gained the reputation of being a bruising power forward with a knack for crashing the net. But even still, besides physicality, Brown became increasingly valuable to the organization for his leadership abilities he possessed at an early age. And on October 8th of 2008, the New York native became the youngest at 23 and the first American-born captain in franchise history upon receiving the C. Head coach at the time, Terry Murray, marveled at the forward's blue-collar work ethic and sincere approach to leadership, as the captain was able to be vocal in the locker room, but also on ice, and received the honor of representing his team in the 2009 All-Star Game, while in the middle of what would be a 53-point season after 80 games played. Things in LA were beginning to look up for the franchise, as Brown was part of an emerging young core, with players such as Drew Doughty, Anze Kopitar, and Jonathan Quick. And after 6 seasons of missing the playoffs, the Kings made an appearance but lost in the conference finals. But after meeting the same fate in the postseason after, the Kings were victorious against the New Jersey Devils and were able to bring the first Stanley Cup ever to the City of Angels in 2012. Brown was a key contributor in the team's success, while averaging a point per game with 20 in 20 games played. But it was directly after he received his first of 2 Stanley Cup rings that Brown's production began to plummet, as a forward for 4 straight seasons was unable to eclipse the 30-point mark. Besides just the captain's numbers taking a hit, so did the team's, as the Kings weren't able to make the playoffs following the 2014-15 campaign, and were eliminated by the Sharks in the first round the postseason after. And it wasn't long after that the Kings captain was replaced, in June of 2016 by Anze Kopitar. For the club, the move probably seemed logical, as Kopitar led the entire league in postseason scoring, upon the Kings receiving their second cup with 26 points, and was the highest scoring player LA had on its roster consecutively since 2008. But for Brown, though, the sudden change didn't set well, as the forward was vocal on disagreeing with how the announcement came about, as the news was leaked to the media before the team made it official. Part of my problem was how it was handled, he says. It just put me in an awkward spot. Regardless, Brown conveyed nothing but praise and faith in his new captain in Kopitar, while passing the torch. Known as one of, if not the best to have ever worn a Sharks jersey, Patrick Marleau, upon being selected by the Sharks in '97, was the youngest at 17 years of age in his draft class. And almost instantly, Marleau, with his high class and gentlemanly demeanor on ice, captured the hearts of San Jose fans, while displaying his impressive offensive abilities. After Captain Owen Nolan was traded, following half a season of rotating the C between various players, the organization appointed Marleau mid-season as their captain. The team finished first in their division at the 2003-2004 season's end, and managed to make the quarterfinals before losing to the Flames. But not long after, the Sharks brought their goal scorer wingman in Jumbo Joe Thornton mid-campaign during the 2005-2006 season. And it was then that Marleau's game reached another level, as he finished with his career best with 86 points in 82 games played. The team continued to be one of the best in the West, while consistently making postseason appearances and even finished first in the Pacific on back-to-back occasions and captured the President's Trophy directly before Marleau was stripped of his captaincy with San Jose in the summer of 2009. Shortly after, Sharks defenseman at the time, Rob Blake, was given the honors, but went down with injury, prompting the backup leadership to be granted to Marleau, Dan Boyle, and Joe Thornton. And really, when you have all the right pieces in place but no results, the blame has to go on someone's shoulders. And in my opinion, the casualty here was Marleau. But as we all know, the forward took it in stride and understood the reasoning behind the sudden change. It was a different look for our club, and maybe something that will make us turn that corner, come playoff time, and hopefully come home with the Stanley Cup, he says. Well, hopefully for Marleau, though, he'll get that Stanley Cup, even if it's not with San Jose after all. One of America's finest to ever play the game, Modano's story began in Minnesota, as he was taken first overall by the North Stars. But as far as captaincy is concerned, Modano wouldn't receive the C until the club moved down south, and became the Dallas Stars. After making it to the conference finals during the postseason of '98, Modano, along with key contributors such as Brett Hull, Joe Nieuwendyk, and Ed Belfour, captured the franchise's first Stanley Cup. In the postseason after. Modano was able to have such an impact as a player from not only his impressive two-way game, but also his elite skating ability.
Game 6 is all about the Stars, baby! Devils going back to New Jersey! 2 in 2000!
The Devils are trying to win the Stanley Cup here tonight.
The team made another Stanley Cup final appearance in the year after, but lost to the Devils. The forward quickly became the unassuming face of the franchise in the Lone Star State, while playing the game with the utmost class. Modano was consistent on the score sheet as well, so much so that he was able to reach the 1,000-point mark during the 2000-2001 season. And after being a team influence with keen leadership abilities for several seasons, Modano was made team captain for the 2003-2004 season. But even though his on-ice production did take a hit that season, the captain redeemed himself points-wise during the 2005-2006 campaign, after finishing with 77 points in 78 games played. The Stars also finished first in their division, with a postseason appearance, but were dealt an early exit, after losing to the Avalanche in the first round, 4-1. A few months later, Dallas, in September of 2006, replaced Modano as captain, while appointing Brendan Morrow instead. So why would the Stars decide to replace a guy that took a hometown discount and signed a 5-year extension the year before, when he could have went to places like Boston or Chicago for more money? And obviously their franchise player had earned the right to don the C, and had proven himself to the organization surely by that point. But Modano, as good as he was in many ways, wasn't similar at all to previous captain Derian Hatcher. Now this is definitely not me throwing shade at Modano, rather just trying to analyze why, as he was almost the mirror opposite to Hatcher, who was intimidating to say the least in his day. Modano, on the other hand, registered 1 career fight in over 2 decades of play. Jamie Benn, even today, stands up for teammates almost on a daily basis. So possibly Modano was burned for simply being too nice? Even still, number 9 went down as the best franchise player to have ever played in Dallas. And if the move hadn't been made, hypothetically, he probably would have retired as a Star instead. Definitely one of the most gifted scorers of his generation, Brett Hull dazzled fans all around with his countless one-timers and remarkable ability to find open ice for a pass. Comparatively, think of Hull as the retro Phil Kessel. He may have been a bigger guy that wasn't exactly ripped, didn't backcheck, but once you got him the puck, he could snipe like no other. He just doesn't have a thing for hot dogs. Anyways, before he would dance with Lord Stanley in Dallas, Hull spent around a decade with the St. Louis Blues. And it was during that time that the forward had 4 consecutive triple-point seasons on record, one the Lady Byng and the Hart Trophy. But just when all seemed well in the show-me state, insert Mike Keenan, the coach that wasn't exactly the easiest to play for. Known for his spiteful and borderline sadistic antics, Keenan reportedly took pleasure in busting his players' chops on a routine basis, and decided to do so, unsurprisingly, to Dale Hawerchuk by scratching him from the lineup in Buffalo on the same night that his ailing relative was in the stands. Hull, as a captain, stood up for his teammates and, according to him, lost his C in result. For Keenan's actions in St. Louis, the team lost Hull in return, not long after. And just when you thought Marleau was the only great player to lose his C in the Bay Area, there was also the Jumbo Joe incident. Thornton began his reign as captain prior to the 2010-11 season commencing, and shortly after notching a postseason career high of 12 points in 15 games played, before the team was eliminated by the Chicago Blackhawks in the conference finals in 2010. The forward had not only captained the Boston Bruins before he was traded, but had also by this time become a staple in the Sharks organization. Alongside Patrick Marleau, Thornton had become a natural leader on and off the ice, and was well liked by his teammates. Therefore, giving the captaincy to Thornton almost seemed natural. The team was thriving amongst their rivals, and finished first in their division during his first 2 seasons with the Sea. They even made the conference finals again in 2011. Things seemed to be running smoothly with Jumbo Joe captaining the team, except for one thing.
We had nothing to lose. They had one game to try and put us away, and they failed to do so.
Pearson to Toffoli, a shot. He scores!
It bounces off the boards in deep. Kings are going to go for an empty net. Score! And the Kings climb to the top of this mountain is complete.
They have won the series after they trailed 3 games to none.
Thornton finished the series with 3 points in 4 games played. And for management, this wasn't enough. Therefore, they decided to get the old recipe back out of getting rid of all the letters completely and letting everyone, quote-unquote, compete for them during training camp. And after they decided to charter the waters without a captain for a season, Pavelski then succeeded Thornton as the next captain. As strange as this may seem, happening twice in such a short amount of time, there's definitely 2 things that both scenarios have in common. Just a little food for thought.